Charli XCX's career trajectory has been very interesting. She started out as a huge name on featured songs with Iggy Azalea and the Icona Pop song, which is still pretty banging to be fair, and also a few of her own individual, solo singles that were pretty massive, like Boom Clap, but then kind of fizzled out of the mainstream, out of the public eye, and slowly changed into this very different artist to what we initially saw. Similarly to Carly Rae Jepsen, a very huge name to begin with, then slowly went into obscurity, I guess you could say, although at least Charli XCX has had a few minor hits since, her big hits, but they took very different paths, basically. We are seeing a very different Charli to what we saw initially on the days of Boom Clap. I like how she's garnered this huge cult following, this huge cult status, and her fan base is incredibly dedicated to her craft, and she's taken a lot of influence from PC music, from producers such as Sophie, A.G. Cook, Dylan Brady, all of those underground names that you may be familiar with if you've been following this style of music for so long. It really takes a lot of inspiration from, Electropop, Bubblegum bass, and Charli, he really has been like the front runner of it all, I guess. You could probably argue that there have been better albums in this genre, but I would say Charli has taken the sound to a massive audience and really made it more accessible for many listeners. But I should probably admit that I've not been the biggest fan of what she's done really across her career. I do like a lot of singles that she's released. I'm very much in the group of people that like individual tracks. Gone with Christine and Queens, amazing. The track Vroom Vroom, a couple of tracks from Pop 2 as well. Like, I just find just the odd song from her to be really killer, but I've never loved a project. So you're probably coming to the worst person for a review of her music because you want to see someone say, her music is amazing, this album is amazing. But let's just be honest, I'm not that person. So you may want to click away right now if you were wanting like a masterpiece, amazing 9 out of 10 review. However, on the contrary, you might be happy because this actually is the album I think in her career so far that's clicked with me the most. I'm not going to go as far as saying it's her best. It's the absolute essential Charli album, because I don't think anyone will agree with me on that. But for me personally, as a subjective take, a subjective opinion, a music listener's ears deciding what they want to decide, for me, it's her best. It's my favorite. It's her best. Usually when an artist drops an album so quickly after their previous album, I'm like, man, you did it. Can you wait? Can you just sit with the music a little bit longer? Can you just wait like a year and a half? But with Charli, the gap between her big album last year and this one is so short and so small, and yet I think there's a massive difference in quality here. I just think the flow of this album is really impressive. Like, I like the way we get this consistent sound running throughout, whereas on her last album, I thought all the features that came through kind of just kept halting the album, kind of threw in some random names for exposure, to be honest. People like Lizzo, that didn't really add that much to what Charli does. Just so many guest features I just don't think worked. Troye Sivan didn't really add much on that track either. Like, here though, during quarantine, during this weird time we're currently in, I think she's just kind of been in the right headspace. She's just sat and focused a sound and just really managed to craft a really impressively, flowing album. And it still feels distinctly her to me. She obviously pulls from, PC music, heavy inspiration from that style. But I just think the more intimate lyricism on this one is working in her favor. She's obviously always been very personal with her lyrics. Previous projects have shown us that. But there's something a bit more confessional, I think, about this one. And I think it just adds more atmospheric tones to some of the songs. Forever is a song that I just didn't really like to begin with, but I think the more I've sat with it in context with the album, I feel as though she's really going really passionately in with the way she's singing here. Even when she chops up the vocals, you know, towards the end, and then you hear that I love you in the background over and over again. There's something feels very powerful about the way she did that. Reminds me a lot of how Hannah Diamond makes her music too, where you just get these random like flourishes of these powerful moments, these human moments while you're surrounded by all this like robotic, you know, like AI type music. You know, it doesn't sound like a human's making the music, but you do get those moments, and you get that a lot on this album too. I think due to the fact that Charli is actually really strong with her vocals on this album. Again, I just feel everything feels tidier and more refined on this album here, which I think is why it's hitting me a bit harder than I expected it to. There are some really stunning moments production-wise too on tracks like 7 Years. Claws, I think, as well, has great vocal touches throughout. You still get those really heavy, robust moments where the clashing synths just charge your ears, like on the first track where she's like repeating about how she wants to go real hard. That is catchy as hell, honestly. Like, again, she's just expanding on what she's done before. You got moments like this on Pop too, but I don't really know what's different for my ears, but somehow it seems to be just working a little bit better. Initially, I'm not particularly enamored with moments like C 2.0, and then you've got Party for You, but the way these tracks like climax towards the end, I just love. I think the way that they build is incredibly impressive. Obviously, C 2.0 is an expansion of Click, which was on Charli's last album, which is a track I just really cannot stand. I know it's one of those love or hate tracks, so of course you shouldn't be that surprised I'm out here saying I don't like it, but I think C 2.0 adds something a bit more, I guess, accessible. You know, I guess that probably would be the best word to use. The future garage sounds that burst in towards the end, I really like that beat that comes in. It's a great moment that I just find to be really impressive. Honestly, I think she should expand on this a little bit more with some of the tracks, kind of like the way she was doing on that Vroom Vroom EP. And then Party for You, which again, I mentioned how it didn't initially work for me to begin with the repetitive vocals of Party for You, that kind of thing. But then again, the glossy sounds that come in towards the end are beautiful. It's crazy. The production on this album is really top notch, especially on I Finally Understand, sorry. What a song that is. So tuneful. One of my favorites of hers. Again, I've spoken to a few people. Some people seem to think this is quite simple for her. You know, the presentation isn't exactly bringing anything out, you know, that's new for what she's ever done. But I just think it's incredibly catchy. And then the chorus with the vocals that repeat, it's so damn good. Again, probably one of her most simple, you know, simplistic songs to date. But who cares when it sounds as good as this? A beautiful little track that's just incredibly earwormy. Wow, what a song. This has got to be my favorite on the whole thing. So yeah, overall I think it works quite well. I think the closing track is nice too. Probably could have ended a bit better, but there are some fantastic moments on this album, like way more exciting to listen to for me than previous projects from her. Again, you know, you're looking at the wrong person for an opinion here, because I'm not really the biggest fan of what she's been doing, but I think it only really goes to show that here I am saying that I haven't really liked much of what she's done in the past, but here, with how I'm feeling, I'm just really impressed with it. It definitely seems to be the album that isn't for the core fans in that sense. Like, you know, the true lovers of her music won't say this is her best, but if you're a casual fan of her music, you may end up saying it's her best. So yeah, I think a 7 out of 10 is pretty fair from me. I'm liking this a lot, taking away a few tracks as well that I think are absolutely fantastic. I'm just happy to be doing this review and is being as positive as I am, because I wasn't expecting that. But definitely an album that I'm going to keep going back to, I think. Lots of replayability for me. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on this album. What's her best album as well? Have a good day. Subscribe, and goodbye.